Welcome to Thriver's Ed, the podcast that's all about giving you the practical, no-nonsense advice you need to level up your life and business. I'm your host, Marcy Rossi, success coach, business strategist, and alcohol-free enthusiast. If you're ready to crush your goals, optimize your productivity, and live your best, most authentic life, then you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into topics like the psychology of success, practical strategies to boost your performance, and the unexpected ways living alcohol-free can elevate your life. Whether you're looking to boost your business, improve your health, or simply become a better version of yourself, Thriver's Ed is here to help you do just that. So grab your iced coffee, buckle up, and let's get thriving. Welcome back to another episode of Thriver's Ed. I am so glad you're here today because I've got a story that's close to my heart. As I'm recording this, it's the 12-year anniversary of the night that I met my husband. Now, this isn't just a love story, it's about something bigger. How life and business can surprise you in the best ways when you just keep going, even when it feels like nothing is happening. So if you're feeling stuck, uninspired, or ready to throw in the towel, I want you to stick around because this episode might just be the pep talk that you didn't know you needed. So here's how it started. 12 years ago, I was studying abroad in Switzerland at the University of Lucerne. And one night, my roommates and I decided to go to this bar that was right by the train station. And it was known for attracting these so-called penguins. Now, unfortunately, these weren't real penguins. It meant guys that were dressed in black suits and white shirts. I guess because that's the kind of look that looks like a penguin. I don't really know exactly where the word came from, but the point was we were broke college students in one of the most expensive countries in the world. So we were hoping to meet some cute guys who might want to buy us some drinks. So we get to this bar and we're all dressed up and we're ready for a fun girls' night. And after some time, we see this group of guys sitting at a table kind of off to the corner. Now, they were definitely checking us out, but apparently none of them had the guts to come over. It was just kind of this like looking back and forth, but then no one would ever get up. And so after a bit of waiting, my more extroverted friend decided she was going to break the ice. So she walks over and asks them like maybe for a lighter or something. And I guess that kicked off some sort of conversation because eventually she brought their whole group over to ours and the most incredibly handsome guy sat down right next to me. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was intimidated. He was way hotter than I was. So naturally, I made a joke about his outfit to kind of ease the tension. You see, these guys were definitely not penguins. They were dressed in polos and jeans. These weren't the traditionally successful, banking, CEO suite, like types of guys that we were going for. But they made us laugh. We had a really good time. We ended up going from that bar to another and had a really good evening with them. And that super hot guy, well, we hit it off. And fast forward 12 years, we are still happily married. Obviously, that night we met is not the night we got married. We had to manage some growth. We had to do long distance for a while. But a couple years after that evening, we got married and we have been living happily ever after ever since. And what's wild to me is that I went into that night obviously not expecting to meet my husband. Like I was not going to marry a penguin, right? I just wanted to have a fun night out, maybe get some free drinks, and instead, I met the love of my life. It's a night that changed my entire life for the better, and I had absolutely no idea that it was ahead of me. And even funnier than this, yes, of course, today, because it's that anniversary of the night we met, I'm thinking about our anniversary. But recently, I found an old journal, and this was apparently the one I had brought with me to Switzerland. And in this journal, I was kind of acting woe is me and all sad and dramatic because for this trip to Switzerland, apparently I must have missed some kind of email or announcement, just kind of skimming something. But what it essentially said was we could pick up our keys to our hotel during the week, right? And I was supposed to arrive on a Saturday. And so what that meant was I could not get into the room that I was assigned for this study abroad trip until the following Monday. So days before I'm set to leave for Switzerland, I'm trying to scramble and book a hotel so that at least I'd have a place to stay for those 2 nights in between. And so I arrive in Switzerland, and it is a Saturday, and it's actually my birthday of all days. And I am at a 4-star hotel, which sounds really great and fantastic. And most people, I'm sure, would be thrilled about staying in this hotel. But mid-20 somethings me was sulking, apparently. My journal is all woe is me about how lonely I am and how I wish I had people to drink with, which is just hilarious now. And I was so focused on what I didn't have that I didn't realize I was days away from meeting the love of my life. And I just think it's so crazy how close we can be to something amazing and have absolutely no idea. And so that's the message I really want to drive home to you today, that you might be this close to something great. You just can't see it yet, but that doesn't mean it's not coming for you if you don't give up. So this brings me to something really important, and that is the power of acting as if. So acting as if your dreams are about to come true, as if you are the kind of person that you wish you were, as if you accomplish your goals, that sort of thing. Now, I'm not talking about some fluffy, like, manifest your dreams into reality sort of thing. I'm talking about the psychological impact of living your life with this kind of hope and expectation that all the best is coming to you. There's research that actually backs this up. Studies show that when people are hopeful, they're more likely to engage in behaviors that move them closer to their goals. And it seems silly that they had to study this because it also seems so common sense, right? But anyway, they did do a study on it, and it was published in Psychological Science, and they found that hopeful individuals are more likely to see opportunities where others see obstacles. And so they persist longer. When challenges come up, they keep going, and they get better at problem solving because they expect everything is going to work out. If you expect that it's not going to work out, or that it's going to be harder than you thought it was, you're not going to notice those opportunities that might be just the key to get you to where it is that you want to go, right? You're not going to keep trying. You're not going to keep persevering because you don't actually see the point there at the end. So when I talk about acting as if, I'm talking about embodying that hopeful energy. It's about truly believing that the actions that you're taking today will lead to something great. And that's even if you don't see any evidence of that happening. There's a lot of times in our business that we might not see those results, right? My mentor once gave me the example of, on social media, Instagram is the one that I use primarily. And she's, kind of asked, how many times do you see people that you're following maybe for years and you don't like their stuff, you don't comment their stuff, but maybe you purchase from them, or you're likely to purchase from them in the future because you've been growing this relationship with each of their posts, with each of their, lives or comments or whatever that they're doing out there that you're seeing. You're growing this relationship. And yet to that person, they're not seeing the likes. They're not seeing the comments. And so they may not realize that they are growing these relationships on the other side that are going to lead to sales or bring them closer to their goals or whatever that situation is. So hope is acting even when you can't see those little breadcrumbs of success. And that is so hard to do. But it's not just being hopeful because it's the emotion, it's a strategy, right? When you have hope, when you believe that something good is going to be a result, you take that extra step. You send that email, you create that new offer, you post again and again and again, whether or not people are liking or following or commenting or sharing or whatever the algorithm wants you to do this week. It's continuing to try again even when you fail. Because when you're hopeful, failure is just a stumbling block. It's not, a hole that you fall into and where you give up completely. So taking this and putting it more in a business perspective, I remember my first year of business. I did not make $1 single in my first year of business. And not only did I not make $1, I spent a lot of money that first year trying to build things, investing in myself, signing up for different programs and automations and software and all these different things that I was using to build up my business from scratch. But did not see a return on it at all. And when I hit that 1 year mark, I could have thrown in the towel. I could have said, okay, I'm done. This is it. This isn't working for me. And it was tempting, I'm not gonna lie, right? When you don't see those little breadcrumbs of success, it's tempting to assume that clearly this wasn't meant for you, that it's not gonna work out, that this isn't something that you should bother pursuing. But I don't always do the thing that makes the most sense, so I kept pushing. I kept acting as if eventually it was going to work out. Like, I know that this is going to work out. It's not working out on my timeline. It definitely wasn't working on the timeline that I had in my head, but that doesn't mean it wasn't going to come. It was going to come. I just didn't know when. And sure enough, about a week or so after the year, it was like 1 year and 1 week, that's when I made my first sale, and it was for thousands of dollars. And then I think in that next month, I signed 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly, 4, somewhere around there, new clients that month alone. So from nothing to thousands of dollars to 4 new clients, like it just started snowballing. If I had stopped right there at that 1 year mark and said, that's it, I tried, giving up, not seeing this sign of success, I would have missed out on so much. I would have missed out on so many goals accomplished. And, my clients would have missed out on the ability for the impact that I was able to achieve with them. And that's just because I had hope, because I believed this is going to work out. I had no idea I was that close to a breakthrough. And that's what I want you to remember, because you could be way closer than you think. In fact, you probably are way closer than you think, even if you're not seeing those little tangible signs of success. Now, here's why acting as if really works. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, and this helps you filter out information that you deem important. So the example that I tend to see a lot is when you buy a brand new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. Now, it's not as if everybody decided that weekend to go out and buy a Mazda, but in looking at that car and making that purchase, you've told your brain, this is something important to me, and so it starts noticing it. It starts saying, oh, there's one, and it starts picking it out because your brain is now filtering for them. Those same Mazdas were still there before you ever decided to buy that car, but your brain, that reticular activating system in your brain, has started laser focusing on something that you have deemed important and filtering out all the rest as noise. The same thing can happen in your business. So if you're constantly telling yourself, nothing's working, I'm never going to succeed, it's not going to work out, your brain is going to filter out opportunities that are going to contradict those thoughts, right? You've told it, this is not going to happen for me, so why would it highlight for you opportunities that would make it happen? But if you start focusing on acting like your success is inevitable, your reticular activating system is going to start showing you the opportunities that support those beliefs. Now, this doesn't mean that opportunities magically show up when you decide that you're going to be successful. They are always there, just like those Mazdas were always there, but your attention shifts. You start to believe that different things are possible, and so you actually go for them. Right? You start seeing potential clients, collaborations, or having other ideas that you would have missed otherwise if you instead convinced yourself that there just was no point, that it wasn't going to happen, this wasn't meant for you, insert whatever negative belief that I guarantee you I've had before right here, right? Now, there is something to be said for persistence. So again, this is not going to come as news. It's a study that I don't know why they felt the need to study, but according to research from the American Psychological Association, people who persist in the face of adversity are more likely to succeed than those who give up, right? So those who keep trying are more likely to be successful than those who stop trying. So don't know why they had to study this, very common sense, but of course an important reminder. It's not because those particular people were smarter or were more talented. They simply kept going. So when you act like your success is right around the corner, that gives you the energy to keep going, even when it's frustrating, even when you don't see those signs of success. You keep creating, you keep pitching, you keep promoting, you keep networking, you keep doing all of the things because you truly believe that your results are coming and your results are going to come from the actions you take. When you keep showing up, you increase the likelihood that something is going to happen. Going back to that dating example, if at the time, I wasn't looking for my husband when I went to Switzerland. In fact, my mom told me not to fall in love when I was in Switzerland. So sorry, Mom, but I didn't go there intending to find a husband. But if I were looking for a partner, then I have to take the actions that are most likely going to lead to that, right? If I'm staying at home and I never go out, if I don't join the dating apps, the dating apps weren't a thing when I was studying abroad, fortunately, that long ago. But if I were looking for a partner now, I'm sure I would be on the dating apps. If I weren't doing the things that were likely to lead to my success, it's almost impossible that I would actually find what it was I was looking for. You have to keep doing the things, networking, pitching, promoting, creating, whatever it is, all of those little steps to keep you moving towards that goal that you ultimately want. So for today's Thrive in 5, here are 5 actionable tips to start acting as if your dreams are about to come true, as if they're right around the corner, waiting for you less than a week away from your, sob story journal entry, not realizing, thinking that things are over. All of that goodness is coming. So here's how to start believing that. The first is to visualize your success daily. So every day, start visualizing what that goal is, whatever that goal is. If it's a certain number of clients, a certain dollar revenue, a certain partner that you want to have, start picturing what success looks like for you. And this starts priming that reticular activating system in your brain to focus on the actions that are going to get you there. And remember, your brain cannot tell the difference between something that you really imagine, that you really dive into, and reality. That's why athletes spend a lot of time visualizing their success and, achieving their goal at whatever it is in their sport that they're in, because it works. So use that to your advantage. Number 2 is to take bold action every day, just one step at a minimum every day, whether that's pitching to a new client, whether that's posting that video, showing your face, goodness forbid, it's sending an email that you've been putting off. Take one bold action that aligns with your goals, because that's how we start to get to that end result. We might not see the immediate effect from it, but it's compounding interest. Number 3 is to celebrate small wins. So as you're taking those bold action, start celebrating, right? Did someone like your post? Celebrate. Did you add one new name to your email list? Celebrate. So keep that momentum by acknowledging your progress, even if it's the tiny progress, because that encourages you to keep going. It feels good to celebrate yourself, so you'll start looking for new ways to keep that celebration going. Number 4 is to surround yourself with inspiration. So that might be people who make you feel good. It might be podcasts like this one that fuel you up. It might be books that open your mind to new possibilities. Whatever that looks like for you, make sure your environment supports your success. Because when you surround yourself with inspiration, acting as if becomes so much easier, right? You're given clues of what to do. When you start to be inspired by inspiring people, it gives you opportunities and ideas for what success could look like in your place. And number 5 is to ask, what would I do if I knew my success was inevitable? So every time you're faced with the decision of, where to put your attention today or what action you should pursue, ask yourself what you would do if you knew success was right around the corner. And then go do that thing. When you do, you start operating from a place of possibility instead of fear. So here's the bottom line. You are closer than you think. Whether it's love or business or any other goal or dream that you have, you might just be one decision, one day, one action away from everything changing. So why not start acting like it? Why not operate from the belief that something amazing is around the corner? So that's what I've got for you today. I hope this episode gave you the extra push to keep going, keep dreaming, and keep taking action. And if you take anything away from all this, I hope it's this, that your success is inevitable if you don't give up. So, what's one bold action you're going to take today to move closer to that dream? I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on Instagram at Coach Marcy Rossi and tell me what you're going to do, that bold action to make sure that you keep thriving. That's what I've got for you today. Until next time, keep thriving.